What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Flint of the Landship Scorpios, and today we're playing against Colossus. That's right, today I'm going to do the solo rules, and this will work as a chance for us to talk about the scenario, which today we're doing the tutorial scenario, basic training. There was a voting in the community tab, and it was very close, neck and neck, but since there was a tie, I decided let's do the simplest first. This makes the most sense as both an introduction to Colossus, as well as an introduction to Rivet Wars, as well as, you know, it's the first scenario. It's the tutorial one, basic training. So the first thing I did was set up basic training. Playing solo does not affect that too much, so I set up the tiles based on the scenario page. These are available to download from Steamforged Games' website for free as a game resource. Thank you, Steamforged Games. I should probably mention that this is Rivet Wars Reloaded. Thank you so much. When you go there, you can look at the scenarios booklet, and it's either in the rule book or in the scenarios booklet. You can see basic training, how to set up, how to look at each piece. So we see that we have the tiles set up as it describes. I can put up a picture of the scenario pages to show you what that looks like. So the first thing I do is get the components set up, which is like the battlefield of the scenario. So we got the tiles set up. We have all of our terrain pieces, so strategic objectives, bunkers on the side, which might be hard to see. I tried to set this camera up as best as I could. I looked at the deployment zones for Blight and Allied and have them set up. And since I'm doing the solo rules, it's ultra important to make note of the numbers and where those are properly placed. I made sure to set up the action cards, which I shuffled, which I will do again on camera so that you guys can see that they're all shuffled. I have the deviation and the defensive position, attack position cards set up the way that they are shown in the scenario. That is the intended balance of how this is for both sides. So I have them both set up on both ends. I have the mission cards set up as they are supposed to be. I have the victory point counters. And I'm gonna have some Colossus cards set up down here. However, setup isn't entirely done yet because I do not know which side I am playing. I do not know who I am playing against. This is because the way that we're going to be doing these scenarios reviews as intended in the book and playing against Colossus is I'm going to roll for which side I'm playing, and then if we are doing which side goes first, I would roll for that as well based on factions. So the way that I'm doing that here at home and on this channel for you guys to see is I'm rolling one each of the faction die to see which is larger. I will re-roll if there's a tie. Then if we were doing which side goes first, I would roll these faction die again. The largest one gets to go first. So we will discuss the rules. We'll discuss more setup as we go through it. But first, let's figure out which side I'm playing as. This is a little cocked, but it's a 6, and this is a 5. That's close. Lucky for me, it'll be on this side. So that looks like I'm playing as the Blight. And since this randomly determines the who goes first, so with Colossus being allies and me being the Blight, we're going to see who goes first. That's a 1 and a 2. Allies will be going first, so we will be doing Colossus first. And that is how this will work. Another important thing to talk about is that In this scenario, basic training, they limit what units you can use, again, for tutorial purposes. So I only have those units out at the moment. Those units are 9 Riflemen, 2 Rocket Cycle, 2 Hammer 65 Pounder, and 1 M2 Wolverine on the Allied side. And the Blight are allowed to have 9 Panzerfaust, 2 Monowheel Dragoons, 2 MGOH Schlitten, and 1 Major Jaeger Moldenstein. So that is all that we have out on the board at this time. Going forward, I'll let you guys know if I'm introducing a thing. We will most likely be going forward with basic scenarios with the core box and the Vanguard expansion, but some people are interested in seeing some other things. So even though it might not be, for instance, an aerial ace scenario, I might add aerial ace into a normal scenario just so that people can see how the planes work and things. With that in mind, I'm going to set up a house rule right at the beginning. The house rule is that I have all the action cards all tied into this, and I might have all of the deployment cards for Colossus tied in. So on this channel, you may see me draw an action, immediately discard it, and draw again. That is because aerial aces, action cards are mixed in. If we are not using aerial aces, those are a useless card. So for either Colossus or myself, we are going to be getting rid of that. And the same thing for Colossus. Colossus uses these deployment cards to say who they will deploy and how much and how. And aerial aces comes with some additional cards for Colossus. If we're not using aerial aces, that's extremely unfair for Colossus. So we will be immediately discarding that. In this scenario, I think I did pick them out. I think there was only 3 of them. But if it comes up that it's heavily aerial aces themed or something, if you see that, that is not a part of the official rules. That is going to be a house rule that we roll forward with. So now that I know Colossus is going to be the Allies and I'm going to be the Blight, let's do a little bit of setup. Alright, I did some additional setup. I also want to say something about this, how we're filming today. We are using all of the base, the core box tokens and things of that nature. The reason is this is the very first video. I want to make sure that everything gets seen. And we're just doing a base experience. In the future for my videos, I absolutely will be using 3D terrain. I will absolutely be using maybe custom markers or something. Whatever I have to show off that makes it look a little bit more interesting. But for today, we are using all of the base set stuff just to make it that little bit more authentic for our very first video. So the first thing we're going to do for Colossus setup is it is suggested that we use these numbered Colossus tokens to make certain things crystal clear on the map. So based on that, the only things that are numbered that aren't the deployment zones are the strategic objectives. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to use these to denote mission cards. Another thing we have to do is Colossus uses trait cards. So you'll notice them say trait on the back. These are going to be basically Colossus's action cards during the game. Since we now know Colossus is going to be playing as the Allies, we're going to be taking the Allied trait cards and we're going to shuffle these in to his trait card deck. These are special to the Allies to help keep the flavor of playing against them alive and to make them a little harder. My thoughts are some of these traits are more like cheats than one-time action cards, but I do think that having a little bit more power to not be so structured in my strategies will help me against Colossus. Well, no. Now the trait cards are done. We're going to be pulling these each one of Colossus's turns. So I'm going to put this over here. It will be returning non-faction trait cards that we will not be using today to the box, your core box. The next thing we're doing is with the deployment order cards, which are for Colossus. You have to remove the infantry assault card. This will always be Colossus's first card that they play. So with that removed, we have all of these. We're going to shuffle these because we don't know what they will be calling on. And when we're done shuffling them, we take this infantry assault card and we put it on the top. That needs to be the first card that they draw. Now, I don't know why you would do this. You just play this first and make this the start of the discard pile. But sometimes flipping it over is nice to begin with. So that will be deployment order. I'm going to put it over here. Is that in camera? Sort of. We're going to put it, I guess, where you guys can kind of see it. So that way it is out of the way, but reachable, and we can draw on it. So over here is the mission rate token. Oh, you can barely see that. It's way up here. This lets us know the mission rate for Colossus, which is found in the scenario rule. Each scenario has a solo rule section. So the mission rate is 3. So as we move through the game, that's going to tick. When it gets to 3, Colossus scores on a mission card, going left to right. And that's how we're going to handle that. Another special rule for this scenario is during their deployment phase in round 3, the allied player gets to deploy the Wolverine for free, and the Blight player gets to deploy Major Jaeger Moldenstein for free. So with that in mind, and the golden rule of Colossus, which I should probably read real quick. Colossus's golden rule is in an instance where the Colossus rules are not clear on what to do. You need to use your best guess on what would benefit Colossus the most in that situation in order to simulate what an actual player would do. So in this case, because this special rule has us deploying heroes for free in the 3rd round, I'm going to homebrew here as a golden rule that I am not deploying one of the heroes early than that 3rd round for Colossus. The reason is because those resources can better be spent towards other units rather than forcing myself to spend them on a hero unit. That way, it is as fair as possible. I feel like that is going to be, I mean, it may not be my strategy, but I think that is the clearest most players would choose, is to deploy a unit for free instead of spending your limited deployment resources on a unit. So that's how we're going to play this going forward. And with that, we should get into this game. We know that the Allies are going first, and we'll jump right in after this quick break. All right, and without further ado, we will go through rules as we get to them. So I think it's about time that we start. First things first, we are going to deploy a deployment order card and a trait card. We already know that it's infantry assault, so we'll deal with that when we deploy. The trait card for this round is Take and Hold. Colossus non-hero infantry units gain +1 move this turn. Ouch. That's going to suck. So all of their units get +1 movement. And we're going to use infantry assault. So I'll try to put this up so that you can see it for now. I don't think we're going to do this with all of them, but we can do this with this one. So this is a Colossus deployment card. So what we can see is it has a priority indicator on it. We can see its name, and then it's a series of unit symbols with numbers in them. So we're going to be working our way down this until Colossus has no more resources to spend. Now in this tutorial mission, it's 3 deployment points and 0 rivets. And the reason why that is because there's nothing that really costs rivets, and you'll get your, I guess you'll get your hero units for free in round 3. You can't buy them early. Well, there you go. And 0 rivets. So we're going to start by spending the cheapest possible of 4 infantry units. So I think it makes the only sense that we can do in this tutorial thing is 4 riflemen. Since we only have 3 deployment points, we technically have half. So half of 3 is 1.3. Is it half rounded up? I guess this is the first time I'll need to dip into the rules. Gain deployment points. If you're the first player during the first round, gain half the listed deployment points rounded up and don't gain any rivet tokens. So rounded up is important because with 3 deployment points, it's 1.5 half. We're going to round that up to 2. So Colossus will only get 2 deployments. So this round, we're deploying 2 riflemen, and then he runs out of deployment points. So this is now done. If we had more resources to spend, we could continue to work our way through these. But well, that'll have to be saved for later. So for now, we're deploying 2. So now we've completed the Colossus control phase. We drew a deployment order card and a trait card that will affect all of his stuff. He has no flags in which to place down. So now we're going to deploy. To deploy units for Colossus, refer to the symbols on the deployment card. Where do you deploy? Place it in the highest numbered deployment area that has space for the unit. If no space, continue on down. All right. So we have 1 and 2 for his deployment zone. So we're going to be deploying in the highest first, which is 2. So we're deploying 2 riflemen for Colossus. That's all that they have, so we are going to skip the rest of it. Colossus attack phase, there are no units to attack. So we're moving on to Colossus movement rules. So, during the movement phase, Colossus moves each of their units 1 at a time, starting with areas closest to the deployment areas. So we'll start in the highest deployment zone, move to the lowest, and then we'll be closest out. So we'll do like a wave to move units. I think that's the intended. Follow these steps. Select an area containing units belonging to Colossus. We have that. Check any buffs that would affect movement of the area. So we have a rifleman. Riflemen get a movement of 1. However, they are on duck boards. So with runner, they get a movement of +1. So that's now a movement of 2. But we also pulled this card earlier that says all non-hero infantry units get an additional movement. So these riflemen are going to be moving 3 this turn. That is insane. Select units, may move up to its move value. Repeat step 3 until you moved every unit. So where are they going? Priority, movement priority. Infantry units move toward the closest strategic objective that doesn't contain a friendly unit or flag token. If there are multiple closest, move toward the highest number. Well, the Colossus is obviously this one meant for them. So they can move up to 3. However, they only need 2 to move there. 1, 2. If Colossus has a friendly unit or flag token on every strategic objective, move units to using the other type instead. So I'm going to golden rule this real quick because he's the first in here. I'm going to 1, 2 into here, which does make the most sense for Colossus. However, there's no one on the board to attack and no one to threaten this area. So to make the use out of the maximum movement they have, this one is going to move 1, 2, 3 to get as close as possible to this strategic objective. I'm going to keep them on that so that they have options for more movement if they need. And this I feel like is the most correct. And this is probably the best with the golden rule as intended. With that, we move on to Colossus's wrap-up phase. There are no flags to remove. Colossus gains VPs. So 1 guy and 1 strategic objective. So now his points are at 1. Move the rate token up 1 space. So we're going to move that up. And the rate is 3, so no gaining any mission cards at this time. Check victory conditions. Our victory conditions for this is first player to 8 victory points or complete 3 mission cards. The special rules say that the player, who is me, must complete 4 mission cards to win instead of 3. None of this has happened. No victory. And now his turn is over. And that is Colossus. So now it is my turn. My first one of the game. We're going to do control phase. There's nothing. I gain 1 action card. And since there's no player to keep this secret, I'll do it. I get Tunnel Rat. Friendly deployment phase. When you deploy a non-hero infantry unit, choose an area in no man's land and resolve deviation from that area. After resolving deviation, deploy the infantry in that unit. This is going to be extremely helpful because I need to get people out on the field as quickly as possible. So this actually might get used this turn. It's a single when you deploy a so I'll use that this turn. There's no points to gain, no flags to put. So now it's just me. I have an action card. And then I gain the same thing. I gain 3 deployment points to deploy however I wish. So what makes the most sense is 3 infantry. And I'll be deploying these 2 guys here. But I'm going to be cashing in this Tunnel Rat immediately. That makes no sense. Why not? So instead of deploying this guy on a deployment zone, I'm going to instead use Tunnel Rat. And we're going to get to see the deviation rules, and I'll put my action discard up here. So, deviation makes use of the D8s, and I roll this after choosing a thing, and then this guide will tell me what that number means, where to go from the where I'm deviating from. So what makes the most sense is for me to choose this and to deviate from here. Now, if I choose an area I can't deploy into or enter with the deviation for whatever reason. So for instance, this space where this guy is, I have to deviate again from this space. If I deviate off the map into like the void, that unit is considered lost or dead, or that ability is considered used and done. So I don't want to deviate off the map at all. So I'm going to choose here. This is my deviation. So I'm going to roll my D8. I get a 2. So it means I deviated right here. Oh, wow. He is in the danger zone. Very much in the danger zone. And that's deviation. I use that card. Next is the attack phase where there's no... Ooh, wait a minute. That was a very good deviation. I am in range, but I'm also in range to get into there and be a little stinker. Ooh, very interesting right out of the gate. So I can try to hit this guy and defend this location, or I can try to get this guy out and get into here, which would greatly cause a lot of strife. I think it is the best choice to try to get rid of this guy and try to get into here. Oh wait, no it doesn't. I can still get into there because it's only one movement. No, this is the most unique chance I'm gonna have to get into here. I'm gonna take it. Riflemen are armor type 1. My Panzerfaust, this guy here, only gets 1 attack and 1 dice against armor type 1. So we're gonna take this dice, we're gonna roll it. I got a 1, that didn't work. There's no one else who can attack, so we're done with the combat phase. Next we're on to movement, and I like going everywhere, but why don't I, depending on the situation I guess, I'll kind of go with the same thing as Colossus. So we'll start back here and we'll move these guys up. So I want these guys to be strong in this. So I want him to be 1, 2, and 1, 2. And I want them to hold down this area. And I did not clear this out, so I need to go 1 into here and hold this strategic objective and try to hold it from this guy so that they don't get in the next turn. There's no one else who can move, so now it's my wrap-up phase. Wrap-up phase is I have a guy on this and guys on this. That is 2 points. 1, 2. And that is it. That is all for this wrap-up phase. My turn is now done, but also Colossus is gone, I have gone, the round is now done. At the end of this round, we are revealing a mission card. The mission card we have revealed is Supremacy. Occupy every strategic objective during a turn. Instead of scoring VPs from these strategic objectives, you may complete this mission. That's going to be an extremely difficult one to get. I do have 2 strategic objectives I am occupying. Occupying are if you have a infantry in there or if you have a flag up. But I didn't get this guy gone, so I'm not occupying there. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the first turn! We did it! Woo! Alright, things are gonna get a little more interesting now as we move forward. Colossus, turn, control phase. So we're going to pull a trait card. The trait card he gets is Tank Buster. When Colossus's units attack a tank unit this turn, they roll +1 die. That's not going to be super helpful because there are no tank units available in this scenario. Should I? It is a base set card, so I think that's just going to happen sometimes. I think that's fair. I'm going to pull the deployment during the deployment one. I think it's weird that it tells you to pull it twice, so I'm just going to pull that during the deployment one. And it's control phase. This guy is controlling an objective. So the allies get a flag in said objective, and they are now controlling that. Next, we're going to do deployment. So let's pull a deployment card. My alarm went off there, sorry. This card is upgrades. Oh, it looks like it's going to be really heavy. So we can see it's telling us to do the most expensive. We have a limit on this card. A limit of 2 rivets can be spent this round. There's no rivets, that's not helpful. So first off, it says deploy 2 plugs. We don't have any pluggable units. No plugs are available for this scenario, so we're going to skip this. It says deploy any air plugs. No air units are available. Skip this. Deploy 1 tank. No tank units are available, so we will skip this. Deploy 1 heavy aircraft unit. No air units are available, so we'll skip. This was a bad card. Oh, and right at the end we have 4 infantry. We can do that. 4 of the most expensive infantry. The only thing he can get in this scenario is the rifleman. So he's going to be deploying with 3 deployment points, 3 riflemen. So we're going to be deploying it in the highest deployment zone first, which is here in this one. And that is the deployment phase for Colossus. Now we are on Colossus's combat phase. During the combat phase, Colossus units make their attacks one at a time. Each unit may only make its attacks once per turn. Obviously, to resolve his combat, select an area containing Colossus units that is farthest away from your units. So this is my closest unit. So that's deployment, guys. Select to make an attack. Remember to apply the golden rule. Continue to select. So riflemen have a land range of 2. That's only 1, 2, or 2. So no one is in range of those guys. So those 3 are not attacking this turn. So now we have this guy, and 2 would be 1, 2, 2, or 1, 2. So this guy is in range. So he can attack. So here we go. We're gonna make an attack, correct? Check if they can attack that person, check if it's in their target priority. Interesting. Yeah, we'll run through this even though there's only one guy to choose. Continue attacking. His attack sequence is check the range. Check Colossus' units for any special rules and buffs. Choose which Colossus units attack profiles it will use. Using the target card, identify which of your units the attack will target. Check units for any special rules and buffs. Compare units' armor classes. Roll dice. Attacking unit can make more than one attack. Do it again. Yep. Colossus target priority. When Colossus units choose an area to attack, they attack enemy units within range that they can cause damage to in the following order. 1. Enemy units on a strategic objective. So even if this guy wasn't the only one they could attack, he's on a strategic objective. So that's going to be Colossus' priority. 2. Enemy units Colossus will roll the highest number of dice against. Again, what an example. Riflemen against Panzerfaust, 3 dice. That is 100% the highest that we're going to end up seeing. And also the closest enemy unit. So if there were, again, more units that they could do and everything else is equal, they're going to attack whoever's closest. When choosing a unit to attack, choose them in the order that allows all units to be able to attack as effective as possible. Yep. Alright, so this guy is the next farthest. This is the only one they can attack, but he's also in a strategic objective, and he rolls the most dice, which is 3. Riflemen get 3 dice against armor type 1. So Colossus is about to wreck me. Boop. No! Alright. He only gets 1 attack. He's done. So the next one is this guy. Again, unit on a strategic objective. Check. The highest number of dice. Check. And he's definitely the closest. Just for reference, 1, 2, 2, 2. These guys aren't even in range yet. So this person's going to attack in here. I have a 5. So my Panzerfaust is taken out. His attack is done. Even if that wasn't the case, all available units to attack are out of the way. So the combat phase is done. We move on to movement phase. Alright, so I do think that, does it say, during the movement phase, move their units 1 area at a time, starting with areas closest to the deployment area. Alright. So we'll start with these guys. They don't get the extra movement. They still get runner, so we know that they're going to move 2 spaces. This has a person on it. It's also got a flag in it. It's considered occupied. I don't feel that it's in danger. I do think that what is best for Colossus is then to charge ahead towards this space and the rest of the battlefield. So that means these guys are going to move up 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to keep them on duck boards. I'm going to keep them on trenches for it to be the best. The next people to move is this guy. This is in control. It's not in danger. I do think that he would move. He's starting on a strategic objective that count as a trench. So he gets 2 movement. And I'm going to have him move 1 and then 1 diagonal, 2. And I think he would take this location. And with this guy, this is where it gets funky. I, as a player, would move him into here and try to hold that. Colossus's movement order for infantry is the closest strategic objective that doesn't contain a friendly unit or flag token. We have a flag token. We have this one that is obvious, but there's a friendly unit in it now. So that means he should be heading towards this one. 1, 2. And I'm going to keep him on a trench so that he gets the most out of his abilities. And with that, they are marching on, just getting closer and closer. Now we have Colossus's wrap-up phase. There are no flags to remove from areas. Colossus is controlling this strategic objective with a flag in it and this one with a guy in it. So they're going to move up 1, 2. And they're going to get up, now pull into the lead. Remember, we're only playing to 8, which is right here. So they are definitely getting up there. I'm going to move the rate up, and now it's on 2. The mission rate is 3, so it does not roll over yet. Checking the victory conditions, they have not been met. So they moved forward, they gained 2 points. I moved up the mission rate. So with that, it is now my turn. It is a new age. It is my control phase. So I'm going to pull an action card. I get overtime, friendly deployment phase, gain +1 deployment point this turn. Wow, these are very helpful. I'm also controlling this strategic objective, so I get a flag token all myself because I've been holding this one. Way to go. And that's it for my control phase. So now it is time for me to deploy. I get 3 deployment points, but I get 4 deployment points. Now I'm in a tough pickle. I have a lot of infantry in the board to deal with. I need to deal with them. I also need to start getting into the strategic objectives because that's going to be very important. So I'm going to start building up my blight wall. And I'm going to be doing this with deploying, for 2 deployment points, my MG08 Schlitten. I'll put them there because you get 1 diagonal, and right now everything's on this side. So I'm deploying my Schlitten, and I still get an extra deployment point and an extra deployment point, which I will spend. These guys are still alive. There's nothing on the board. Normally, I would deploy 2 more infantry because I think that's going to be really important to hold this, but also to spread. But I think that I'm not going to be getting a lot of opportunities to deploy to basically support units in a game on this scenario. So I'm also going to use 2 deployment points to get the Dragoon out there, the monowheel Dragoon. And that's it for my deployment phase. So now it's time for my attack phase. In my attack phase, I'm going to attack with this Schlitten because the only person who can attack is this guy, and I want them to have as much of a chance as possible. So, 1, 2, 3 means he's within range. The Schlitten gets 3 attacks, but 2 dice against armor type 1. So a rifleman is armor type 1. So the first attack, I got a 5. So this infantry unit is gone. He can't reach anyone else. This monowheel Dragoon does have a range of 1, but he has rapid assault 2, which means I could move him 1, 2 and attack. So I could have attacked that guy, but no one else would be in range, and he gets a movement of 3, so I'm going to save that for later. Next are these 2 knuckleheads. They only get 1 dice against armor type 1, but they do have a range of 2, 1, 2, so they do have a chance at knocking this guy out. So in my attack order, I'm going to start in the number 1 slot. I'm going to attack this guy in their number 1 slot using the targeting order. Oh boy! 5. This guy is out. And with that, there's not anyone else who's in range, which means it is now the movement phase. Now that we're in the movement phase, I'm going to move this guy up. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 and do 1 diagonal and keep this clear for now. And because I have a flag token, because things have kind of moved, I am going to move these guys, Panzerfaust, starting on a strategic objective, which counts as a trench. 1, 2, and 1, 2. And I do think that's going to be the best. I'm going to move this Schlitten up. His movement 1. And I'm going to defend this objective with him, but also 1, 2, 3 means I can get in there. That's going to be it for my movement phase, which means it is now the wrap-up phase. The wrap-up phase involves, I don't really have anything to wrap up besides points. So I have a flag here, so I control this one, and I have guys in this one, so I control this one. So that is another 2 points. 1, 2. I do not have supremacy. I would need to get into there. So that isn't helpful. So, in this instance, basically my wrap-up is done. Is there anything else that happens in a wrap-up? No. It is points and victory conditions. Remove flag tokens. I didn't have to do that. Gain VPs. Did that. Victory conditions. Did it. With this, I am done with my turn. Of course, we are now done with the round. Colossus is gone and I have gone, which means a new card is revealed. This new card is the bigger picture. Occupy a strategic objective during a turn. Instead of scoring VPs from that strategic objective, you may complete this mission. That is a really tight mission card, and we can look into that next round. And with that, we are done. We are ready for the next round. Back to Colossus. All right, I forgot my light on for a section there. Whoops. I just came back from some stuff. So, next round. New round, it is Colossus Go. So the first thing we're gonna do is pull a trait card. Colossus has this one here, Rivet Rain. Colossus gains +1 Rivet tokens this turn, and that is not super helpful. He doesn't have much stuff to use it on. During the deployment phase in round 3. Round 1, we went. We did that. Round 2, we did that. Round 3. It's round 3, everybody, which means it is time for free heroes. So, there's nothing, no flags to plant. Their trait card wasn't super helpful. We're gonna see their deployment order card. Call in the heroes, where we're gonna do the priority is more expensive heroes. It's got a 2 rivet maximum. And then we have this card here. First thing we're gonna do is we know that they're deploying their hero for free. So we know that they are deploying the Wolverine. The next thing is we're seeing on the infantry, they should do 2 of their most expensive infantry. So we have 3 deployment points for them. So that means we are going to be deploying 2 infantry for them this round. So they have 1 deployment point left. So now we did the 2, we're going to continue down the card. Support unit, 1 support unit. For the allies, do not have a support unit for 1 deployment point. So we're going to move down, cavalry, 1 cavalry. They do not have a cavalry unit for 1 deployment point. We have an air unit, we are light aircraft. We are not deploying light aircraft in this scenario. And now we're back down to infantry for 4 infantry units. The most expensive infantry they have access to for this scenario is another rifleman. So we'll be deploying 3 riflemen after all. Next up is their deployment. So we're going to be deploying these as helpful as possible to Colossus. But I do think that the hero unit should go first to block these. And I think all of these infantry should start on duck boards, but they should start at the highest deployment zone anyways, which is that one that is 2. And with that, we have Colossus deployment finished. Now we're on to Colossus combat. So again, we're going to start from the back and work our way up. The Wolverine, the M2 Wolverine, has a land range of 2. That's 1, 2, 2. There's no one in range. And the riflemen also have a land range of 2, and there's no one in range. Bring us forward. We now have these guys who have a land range of 2. We only have people in range. They're on a strategic objective. So here we go. We're going to start with this guy here, and using their attack order, we're going to start attacking this Panzerfaust here. 3 dice against armor type 1 for riflemen. We have a 5. They're gone. Next, moving down the turnover, we have another rifleman who's going to take his shot against the next, and I have 6s. We have a bunch of 6s and 5s. Those are rolling hot. So we have that guy who is out. There is no one else in range to attack or anyone else they can attack. So now we're on to movement. All these guys are infantry, so they're going to be moving towards the closest strategic objective that isn't occupied by them. So this has a flag token in it. It is considered occupied. So moving from the deployment zone first is what they say. I want to be kind to Colossus. Obviously, they're going to need this spot open in order to make most use of the runner ability over here. So what I think is the best option is to move these guys first. So I'm going to start with this guy getting 1, 2 into here, which means the priority for these two are going to turn into trying to get into this strategic objective here. So with that in mind, actually it still makes sense for them to move up into here. If they have to move 2, they probably want to stay on a trench in order to make use of their runner ability to get to this in their next turn, in quotes. But also, if they're going to go anywhere, they want to probably protect that strategic objective. Next up, we have the Wolverine, who gets movement of 1. Move him up. And the Riflemen, who get a movement of 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And with that, Colossus movement is done. There's no other units to move, which means we go to the wrap-up phase. There's no flag to remove, and the points is 1 for the flag and 2 in here. So that means they're going to go up 1, 2, and we trade off again. They have not won at this time, so we are going to move this up to this. Now the mission rate is 3, so unless I'm incorrect, this now gets reset to 0, and Colossus gains the, we'll just do this, the leftmost mission card. And with that, the first mission is scored. And we're on to the next round. That round is mine, so we're going to start with this. I get artillery strike during the combat phase. Choose an area and resolve an attack with the following profile. I get 1 blast attack with these dice amounts against everyone in that area. Again, a card that could be extremely helpful, especially since I'll probably want to clear out this so that they don't have a chance to put up a flag. It is time to go. I have 3 deployment points, and I'm in a rough spot. I really need these 3 to be Panzerfaust. So we're going to put 3 Panzerfaust in. Next up is the attack phase. And I'm going to make the most out of my units. I'm going to do the Schlitten first. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to aim in here. My Schlitten gets 3 separate attacks that are 2 dice against armor type 1. So I'm going to attack this person first using the attack order. And that is a hit. This person will be next with the Schlitten on my second attack. Ooh, 2 1s. And on my third attack, we'll be doing the same thing. There we go. And another one down. Now, do I want to try to attack this person and clear that out with my mono wheel? Yes, I do. I don't get to use the chain, but the chain was very unlikely to happen. It's more important that he doesn't get a flag up. So I'm going to do 2 dice. Oh, nope. And that failed. Well, that's going to be rough. That means they're going to get a flag in there. I think I will, for the purposes of this, use my artillery strike immediately. I'm going to attempt to get out all of these guys. So it's 1 blast attack against everyone in that grid. So I get 2 dice against armor type 1. So we're going to go with the first guy. That's a 5. We're going to go off the second guy. That's a 5 and a 6. We're gonna go that third guy. Nope, 4 and a 3. There we go. And with that, that's all I can do for attacking. So now I have to move. And movement is really rough right now. So what I want to do first is secure this SO. But I don't want to leave him too many people in there. I'm also going to do this and bring him up. And I'll protect this Panzerfaust with this Schlitten, because he'll be in the number 1 spot. And I'm going to move this guy up, but I don't want him to be in range of that guy. So I think I'm going to go 1, 2 and put him over here. So we can still attack here, but I also have some options over here if I want. And he's in a position to rapid assault up if needed. And with that, that's really all I can do. I only occupy 1 strategic objective, and it's only worth 1 point, and I'm in trouble. So what I'm going to do is capture this mission first. Occupy a strategic objective during a turn. Instead of scoring VPs from this strategic objective, you may complete this mission. So instead of scoring points on my SO, I'm going to claim that mission card. I need 4 missions to win, and it's going to be very difficult for me to get those 4. So I definitely want to make sure that if I can't swing this in my favor over the next round or 2, that I'm in a position to get these missions. I think these missions are gonna decide it for me. And that is it, which means the end of a round. Another one is revealed. This one is elimination. Destroy 3 or more enemy units in a turn. And we're back to Colossus. Colossus control phase. Let's rearrange some of these. Means that Colossus gains a flag token in this. We're gonna pull a trait for this round. Clear them out. When Colossus units attack infantry units, they roll +1 dice. Yikes, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. Oh, I just realized I never got a free deployment of my hero. I forgot all about that. I don't remember if I had a bunch of people in here. So I'm gonna deploy him, and I'm gonna say he gets 1 movement because I didn't think about that. And we'll call that good. Don't flame me in the thing. I completely forgot about that. We'll call that good for now. Because that will decide if he wants to, if he can attack and do things. We want him to have a chance at VPs like I will have a chance at VPs. So, we have that trait when he's attacking infantry. Alright, so now it's deployment. He gets 3 deployment points. The card we have is Cavalry Charge. We're doing the cheapest possible units. So they want 3 cavalry. Well, for 3 deployment points, the allies can only deploy 1 rocket cycle, which we will deploy on the highest deployment zone. The next one down is support, which there isn't a 1 deployment point support. Light aircraft, which we're not using, and then 4 infantry at the bottom there. So we will deploy 1 infantry unit on the highest deployment zone. And that is their deployment. Next up is attack. Starting farthest out, these guys are not in range. Rocket cycles have a land range of 2. Riflemen have a land range of 2. We already know they have no one. M2 Wolverine has a land range of 2. 1, 2, 2, 2. No one is in range. This guy has a land range of 2, which means only this, but he can only attack armor type 1 units. The monowheel Dragoon is an armor type 2 unit, so he is unable to attack these units. Next up we have this guy who has 1, 2, and 2. Now in this situation, I know the answer based on some things, but just so that we are being as fair as possible, let's look at the combat target priority. Enemy units on a strategic objective, enemy units that the Colossus will roll the highest number of dice against, and the closest enemy unit. So they can't attack this guy because this guy's in the first slot, and this guy is an armor type 2 who they can't hit. So that's out of the question anyways, but even so, this is the strategic objective, and these are the units on it. So he's going to take his attack against this Panzerfaust here for 3 dice. And that's a 5. He's going to take this guy out. And with that, that's all of the attacks he can make this turn, which brings us to movement. Movement, again, to clear out some of this space. I really think these guys should go first. I think I've been going a little bit too loosey-goosey with the rules. Strictly adhering to what we have, this person has to move up 2, the rocket cycle, 2, 2. So they're gonna go 1, 2, and get up there. This person has to go 2, which I would want him in here, but I think I'm just gonna put them in this strategic objective. That will also help them cover that a little bit. The Wolverine only gets a movement of 1, which means he's gonna move forward. And I think the best move for that is also moving in here with this guy to cover this strategic objective. This guy can move 2. He's moving towards the closest strategic objective here. So I think he would be in here covering this. And this guy would move towards the closest unoccupied one without a flag, which means he would move 1 and kind of block that because their end goal is to get in here. And that's Colossus movement. At the end of the day, here we are. They get 2 more points, 1, 2, and the mission tracker goes up 1. And with that, that's the end of their wrap-up phase. They have not won at this time, so we move on to my turn. My turn starts with the control phase. I get a card, attack out of the sun. Oh, so this is a aerial aces, so we're gonna discard that immediately. Advanced maneuvers, friendly movement phase. Choose a friendly air unit. Oh my God. We're gonna do that. Action card. More rudder. Wow, these were really done. Dive bomb from a bomber unit. What is happening? All right, we're clearing out. Deploy AA guns. Good Lord. All right, we're clearing out the action cards here. After destroying an enemy air unit. Good Lord. All right, let's take a second. All right, let's just get this shuffled a little bit more. So we cleared out a bunch of air cards there. There, that should help. Strafing run, friendly combat phase. Choose 2 adjacent areas and resolve an attack with an attack profile. I don't think I'm gonna get another round to try to win this game, so this is gonna have to be used. So now we are on the next phase. If I cannot get them out of this and me into this, I'm in big trouble. 1, 2, 3, I'm in big trouble. I need to get that guy. I guess I don't have much options, not a whole lot. So let's do 3 Panzerfaust again. And we're just gonna do our best at getting clear. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of options here, so let's see what we can do. We go into the combat phase, and I have to clear this out. Have to. So my best bet at that is this Schlitten. So let's start with this Schlitten, and I'm gonna jump over this guy here. I'm gonna attack into the SO first, because that's the most important one. So he gets 3 attacks, 2 dice, against armor type 1. A 5. We did it. So 1 guy's gone. I guess I'll do Schlitten against him. 2 4s. And he has 1 more attack. Nope. Panzerfaust, the only people he can range is this guy. He gets 1 dice against armor type 1. 1. We'll do this one into here. 1 dice against armor type 1. That's a 2. Oh my God. 1, 2. No. So the last person, not the last, but a person is Jaeger Moldenstein, who gets 4 land range. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he can't hit anyone else, so he's got to hit this guy. He gets 2 attacks, but they have to be in the same area. 3 dice against armor type 1. So he's going to get 2 shots at this. Well, 5. So that's it for that. Do I want to try this guy? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do strafing run 2 adjacent grids, which are gonna be these 2 side by side. I want to try to get this hero out so I get a little bit of point helpage. I also have already knocked out 2 enemy units. So a 3rd, and I get a mission. So we're gonna attack this guy here. I get 2 dice against armor type 2. 5. How much health does he have? 2 health. So, gonna put a little health token down. So, he's had 1 point of damage against him. We're also gonna attack this guy. 2 dice against armor type 1. 6. So we got this guy out. Ooh, this is getting exciting. And then we attack this guy. Rocket Cycles are armor type 2, so I got a 6. Rocket Cycles have a health of 1, so the Rocket Cycle's gone. And that is Strafing Run, which means Hail Mary. Oh, I'm not gonna get that mission though. I won't survive that anyways if I don't do something big soon. I'm gonna do 1-2 Rapid Assault and attack into here. The monowheel only gets 1 dice against armor type 2. So this is a big moment of the game. 6! Yeah! So, what we've just done is removed the Wolverine from the game. He's a hero unit, so he cannot be redeployed. He also has a bounty on him of 1, so I'm getting 1 victory point immediately because we got him. So now comes the movement phase. This guy, rapid assaulted, so no movement for him. I'm gonna move into here, so this guy is gonna go 1-2. I'm also moving this guy up 1-2 to get into there. I'm moving these guys up 1-2, 1-2, but I'm gonna make sure I hold this down because I absolutely need it. Now that this is looking more clear, I do feel confident moving him up 1, and I'm actually gonna check Jaeger Moldenstein. He only gets a movement of 1. So I'm actually gonna move him in here then, and I'm gonna, with him here, he buffs the range of everyone in here to 3. 1, 2, 3. I wanted him to buff my Schlitten, but I think I'm gonna do this instead, since I cleared the board of people. With that, everyone has moved, so it is the wrap-up phase. I am removing an enemy flag, because I'm occupying that now. And with that occupation, I have 1-2 points, which is going to tie us. And with that, that is all. Now, normally, this would be the end of the game if I was playing with a person. Why? Because I know that no matter what happens, at the end of their wrap-up phase, they still have this flag in, which means they're gonna score 1 victory point to get 8. Oh, I also scored this, so I guess I'll give myself 2 missions. So, no matter what happens, they're gonna reach 8, which is the scenario victory condition. First person to 8 or 3 mission cards. So I know right now that this is done. This is over. But for the video and for the, the heart of the game, let's play out this last one until we reach the wrap-up phase that declares them victory. So first we're gonna do is the control phase. I don't know what that got, so I'm gonna repeat this. Split deployment. During this deployment phase, Colossus deploys their units as follows. In order of highest to lowest numbered deployment areas, Colossus deploys a unit on each friendly deployment area. When Colossus has deployed a unit on each deployment area, repeat this until Colossus can't deploy anymore. So I think what this means is I need to deploy on 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 and spread them out. That is a confusing card. I don't know how that's beneficial, but we're gonna deploy. So deployment is heavy infantry. They're doing the most expensive unit with a cap of 1 rivet. So first off, they want 2 infantry units, which we can do 1 each. So 1 and then 2 going with that card, the trade card. There isn't a support that's 1. There's no pluggable units. There isn't a cavalry that's 1. Back to infantry. So we did 1, 2, or we did 2, 1, and then 2. Boop. And that's deployment. Next up is attack phase. There's no one in range. Then we have movement, where they are moving towards the closest thing. So this guy would be 1, 2, this guy would be 1, 2, this guy would be 1. There's nothing else to go with, so then we would enter wrap up. They only control 1, which would bring them to 8, bring their mission up to 2. We would check victory conditions, which shows us they have reached 8 victory points. Allied have won the game, which means Colossus has won our tutorial mission. So yay! Thanks for playing, guys. That's the end of our first kind of let's play of the missions. That was basic training scenario and a kind of a rundown of how Colossus works. So tell me what you learned. What did you guys think of the scenario? And what did you think about Colossus? Did you learn anything about strategy, about Rivet Wars' strategy in this? I feel like we gave it our end. I feel like I had these dice roll really hot. I feel like there was good rolls on both sides. I feel like I got a lot of attack action cards that really worked in my favor. But even that, I couldn't pull ahead. The mission rates are really fast. I don't see how I could have scored a lot of missions. To be fair, he would not have won by missions in this scenario. So I really needed to really go hard on the strategic objectives and get these points out. But even with a bounty, taking that down, I didn't really do too well. All right, with that, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this kind of videos. I definitely want to run through a bunch of scenarios, and 9 times out of 10, I will be alone. So it will be Colossus videos. Let me know how you like this. Let me know what strategy you would have taken. Would you have done things differently than I did? And would that have secured you victory? Subscribe if you like this content, if you like Rivet Wars. Check out my other Rivet Wars content. I also do a lot of Steampunk content on the channel, so check out our other Steampunk content that we have. Also subscribe for other Steampunk content. I have more things that I would love to do videos on. Let me know in the comments what scenario you would like to see next. This is the basic of the basic. This is the tutorial mission. I know that some people want to see aerial aces in effect, especially with some of the reloaded rules to how air combat works. Some people want to see the Nemoans and how they play. Maybe I will pick which side I want to play in the future. I do like the rolling for it to be entirely random. That's entertaining for me. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.